Okay, MegaWhale team, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're all having a fantastic day today. In today's video, we are taking a look at the recent explosive move for cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, breaching a brand new all-time high. Is Bitcoin going to continue upwards? Are we going to see a short-term correction into the upcoming interest rate release? And what are the macro expectations for both Bitcoin and the altcoin market? Before we get into it, smash that like button, hit that comment button, and subscribe to the channel. We post daily videos of Bitcoin focusing on the facts, the data, the technical, and the structural information. No hype, no BS, no emotion, pure raw TA. If that is the kind of content you are interested in, join us on Telegram. It is the first link down below. You'll get access to charts, updates, videos, educational posts, news events, and everything you need to stay in the loop with cryptocurrency, with Bitcoin, and the relevant economic news. And if you were interested in taking your trading to the next level, you can join us in VIP by clicking the pinned comment in the free channel, clicking my name, or these links for our trading track record or a video showing you inside the channel itself. We have nearly 700 members. We post trading setups with exact entries, exact targets, exact stop losses, trade justification, exclusive analysis, and so much more. Look at all of those profits we have been printing. Go ahead, join up. You'll get access to the main channel as well as all of our group chats that we have. Check it out, guys, and let's jump on in. So as we can see, Bitcoin has had a fantastic move toward the upside upon multiple things. Number one, of course, the election result was favorable for cryptocurrency, and we saw that represented by a significant move upwards for Bitcoin particularly, and for the entire cryptocurrency market as a whole, as we saw those election results come through. We also saw again Bitcoin being able to sustain above these prior highs and lows at particularly 66.5k, resulting in that continuation through the falling wedge pattern we had depicted on the short-term chart, reaching our 72k target and actually blasting through that into a brand new all-time high. If you have been following the channel for a while now, you would have known that we mentioned many weeks ago that if we were to see a close above 66,000 on the daily over here, we expected an eventual all-time high for Bitcoin. And that prophecy has come true. We saw the close above 66k back on the 15th of August, and we've now officially seen a brand new all-time high. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a deep look at the high time frame charts from both a structural, a price action perspective, and of course a technical perspective, as well as going over to the short-term price action, discussing the possibility for a correction now after this massive rally into FOMC. We're going to be going over Bitcoin dominance and even the total altcoin market. So before we get into it, let's jump into the market data. 24-hour volume for Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and jump on in. So 24-hour volume and liquidations, obviously a huge move up for both. We saw 24-hour volume reach around 341 billion, up 143%, and we saw liquidations reach 612 million, up 259%. Insane stuff, with 185 million coming from long liquidations. How did that happen? Don't know. 427 million coming from short liquidations. If we move over to the market data, the DXY has seen that continuation upwards. We did not see the correction underneath that local area of support, and thus we saw the continuation upwards into the range high. We are watching for corrections of the DXY now at this region moving into FOMC, and we do expect, if FOMC results turn out to be an interest rate reduction, which according to the data is very likely, we will very likely see the DXY correct toward the downside, which could add more fuel to the flame of this asset rally we are seeing develop. So overall, we are expecting the macro direction for the DXY to be this downward move into the low to mid, or should I say high to mid 90 region, 94, 95, 96 over the next 12 months, which will massively bolster the asset market. Moving over to the S&P 500, you have been following our channel for now a year and a half, 2 years. You would know we officially flipped bullish on the S&P 500 back in March, April 2023 upon the break of this horizontal resistance range. We have been calling for $6,000 ever since here. Every time we talk about the S&P 500, religiously, every single time, we're telling you 6,000 our target. We've been saying it every single video for like over a year and a half now. We are getting very close to that target of 6,000, and we are about $43 away now, which is insane. We've seen a massive rally upwards. I will say it again. While we sustain the prior weekly highs we have created, we are expecting a move to 6,000. Upon reaching 6,000, we will discuss what we expect next, as that has been a target for a long time, and when it is reached, we'll definitely be taking a look at what is expected next. But for this move to 6,000 to be invalidated, we need to see a weekly candle close under 5,680. A weekly close below this region will send the S&P into a higher time frame downtrend to retest these yearly lows. Until then, 6,000 is the target. Moving over, guys, we're going to be taking a look at everything today. You'll have a very detailed explanation of not only the recent price action, but of course, the upcoming interest rate data, and most importantly, what you should be expecting on the price charts. Again, we have a very, very interesting week ahead. We do have that interest rate data, and we do have the CPI data coming out relatively soon after the interest rate release tomorrow. So before we get into the rest of the video, if you do want 15% lifetime discounts on all your trading fees, sign up to BitGet, BitUnix, or BingX with the links down below. You'll support me creating these content videos, and of course, you'll support the channel and support yourself trading. You'll get 15% lifetime discounts up to 45% lifetime discounts based on your trading volume. Go ahead, click the links, we'll play an ad, and we'll jump back in. I'd like to introduce our partner, BitUnix. BitUnix is a global, non-KYC, no country restriction exchange, making it a perfect exchange to trade on if you're from the USA, from Canada, the Netherlands, or just prefer to trade without KYC. This exchange is a futures and spot exchange with over 200 different trading pairs and some of the lowest fees in the game. If you sign up with my link down below, you'll get access to 15% off your trading fees, as well as an exclusive reward center where you can claim up to a multitude in USDT prizes. So go ahead and sign up with my link down below for 15% off, and I'll see you in there. Okay team, let's go ahead and jump back in, and we are starting on the macro charts today, and then breaking it down to the short term and finishing up with the altcoin market. So as we can see here, guys, Bitcoin has had a fantastic move toward the upside, and this structural formation we have developed over the past 8+ months, our descending channel formation, has been a bit of a choppy break. And we mentioned a few weeks ago, and we've talked about on Telegram, that we expected the breakout of this range to be a volatile one. We expected it to be a choppy one. And as per that, we used our momentum as a guide for invalidations of the trend rather than the horizontal and diagonal structural levels represented on the price chart. And what do I mean by that? I've explicitly stated over the past few weeks that while the RSI on the daily chart remains positive, and that simply means that while the momentum, the RSI oscillator, is above the diagonal trend line on the RSI, while the RSI is above that level and thus the momentum is positive, we are expecting an eventual continuation up for Bitcoin, as this represents that even though we are seeing the short-term pullbacks into our prior highs, the strength behind the price action is still there, and thus the probabilities for continuation is higher, is greatly higher than corrections or invalidations and moves lower. So with that, we told you guys in the video before yesterday, there was absolutely no reason to be bearish upon that retest of 67K. We had the falling wedge pattern that was a bullish reversal pattern, and of course we had the RSI on the daily retest that trend line, which resulted in that continuation upwards. If we are looking at this macro channel at face value, the expected target in terms of our macro targets from this channel are still going to be based on the measured move of this, applying that to the initial breakout point. We have a target of around 85,000. Now, we did a video about a week ago discussing 4 different methods we are using to actually project where the top will be and when the top will be. The first of one of those 4 methods is the structural method. So based on the structural expectation of the channel consolidation, the expansion move from this consolidation is 85,000, is based on our depth of our prior consolidation. That is still going to be an expectation. The second of the 4 was going to be our date range trend according to our 12 and 18 bar theory, which we mentioned in our prior video, simply measuring how long it takes for Bitcoin to create an all-time high from breakouts of prior all-time highs on the monthly and prior bear market resistances? The answer is it takes between 12 to 18 bars, and that gives us a date expectation of around March to April 2025 for a possible top for Bitcoin. Meaning if we see a possible top prior to or after those levels, we need to take those tops at different face values. If we see a top occur before that level, we would likely attribute that to a local top rather than a complete macro top for Bitcoin. Whereas if we saw a top occur after those date points, we must more likely attribute that to a macro top rather than a local top. The third method we used was going to be the momentum method I personally use when trading, and this is going to be just simply waiting for a negative momentum shift to occur on the monthly chart, which is a representation that buyers are out of control and sellers are back in control. The limitations of this method are you are not going to project or get the exact top. You will likely catch the point of which the macro reversal begins to start, and that is generally just after the all-time high comes in. Simply, we are waiting for the price action on the RSI to print a negative momentum shift, whether that be a break of 80 and then drop back below 80, or some indication on the RSI that momentum is negative and is shifted negative from positive. That is yet to occur. The last method we took a look at was going to be based on our Vortex trend indicator on the 2-week chart. The Vortex trend indicator again is telling us that the top is yet to be in for Bitcoin. We are watching for two things, and I'll go ahead and bring this up in another video again, but we are watching for this downtrend over here. Oh, we got our settings wrong. Let's just go ahead and adjust these settings very, very slightly. I think it might actually be on the weekly chart. One moment, guys. Let's go back to the weekly chart. There it is. Okay, it's on the weekly chart. We drag our trend across. There are two methods. We have got our diagonal trend line. Let's go ahead and make this on white so we can see it. Once this diagonal trend line has been hit, we would expect that to be the top for Bitcoin. So again, whenever that occurs, when that level is hit, we'd expect that to be a macro top for Bitcoin. Number two, we can project when macro downtrends or capitulation phases begin, and that is simply when the vortex trend moves from light green into dark red. That is generally when we are about to see these macro corrections or capitulations into all-time lows. So those are the methods we are using to project when Bitcoin is likely to top out. You would notice that I have not mentioned a specific price because I don't believe mentioning a price helps anyone. Simply, we follow the trend and we follow the strength of price action. The price is just an arbitrary unit of evaluation. It generally doesn't mean anything unless we are looking at psychological levels, and any price points that have significance are based on prior historical reactions at those price points, not current. So when we're moving into price discovery, where we have no historical data at these price points and thus we don't know how the price is going to respond, it is best to be open-minded and track how the buyers and sellers are reacting and acting in real time, rather than looking for particular price points that you're going to make decisions on, as it is very unlikely that those particular price points are going to be met, and you're much more likely to have success if you're actually tracking the strength of the trend. So moving over to the weekly chart now, we mentioned that the targets are 85,000 and we are expecting a little bit higher for Bitcoin. That is just an initial target. We are looking maybe 96 to 132,000 for Bitcoin if we do get this traditional continuation in this cycle and we do not see macro invalidation. So what I'm going to say now is I expect Bitcoin to go to 96 to 131,000, provided that we do not see, before those prices are reached, a breakdown on the leading span A and the Gaussian channel upper band on the weekly chart. If at any point these two levels, they both have to be lost. If at any point these two levels are lost, in my eyes, that would be marking the end of the uptrend and that would be initiating a macro downtrend. We have seen that historically in prior cycles. When both of these levels are lost, we enter macro continuation down for Bitcoin. Again, they have to both be lost, and upon losing those levels, I would then no longer be expecting macro continuations and I will flip bearish. But until that, I am expecting continuations, 96, 132 potentially. I do not think we're going to see much higher. Hell, the reason I have a 96 target is because we might not even see 100,000. It depends how everything goes. We have to be open-minded and we can't be emotionally attached to specific numbers. Moving over, guys, let's jump to the short term. We saw a fantastic move up for Bitcoin. If we take the measured move of this falling wedge structure, we apply to the breakout point, you can see we well over exceeded the expectation. We were expecting a move to 72,000. We saw that 72,000 and then we saw some on top of it. We saw a move up into the $76,000 region. Now, if you were a VIP member, you would have profited greatly. You have been in a long for Bitcoin since 55,000. We posted this a very long time ago. When was this? This was back in August. We have been expecting an eventual continuation from this channel for a very, very, very long time. A very long time, and it has come true. So it's good to see that the price action is following what we've been expected. And again, the reason why I'm able to do that so accurately is because we don't look at the price numbers. We don't care about the charts. We track what the buyers and sellers are doing. And we understand that these structural formations, and in any kind of formation, whether it be a macro or short-term formation, the price action is simply a derivative of people's decisions. And the oscillators, the indicators, are a derivative of the price action. So we have to understand that at a core principle, that these charts, these channels aren't just simply a channel. It is a representation of what buyers and sellers are doing over a period of time, and decisions are based on thoughts. So it is a representation of what we think about Bitcoin over a particular period of time. And in that instance, that is an indication that we see general downtrend, but we eventually see momentum flip positive and we see bearish exhaustion. We have been seeing bearish exhaustion since 49,000, and anyone who hasn't been bullish from there and expecting continuations are simply ignoring the fact that bears have been exhausted since that 49K retest, and buyers have been gaining strength progressively since then. We can see higher lows on the price action, higher highs on the price action. Just by watching these structural formations and the way the price is moving, we can derive massive amounts of developing strength. We don't even need to track the oscillators. We don't even need to track the strength, even though tracking the strength would be a much easier method. It's an easier way to derive the data, but it's derived from the price action itself and kind of simplified into this linear or this line graph for us. But in essence, guys, if you're trading based on emotions, you're likely going to get wrecked. And this move upwards is just one example of that. So let's talk about the short term. Do I think Bitcoin is going to correct into FOMC? I do. I think we're likely going to steer flush. We saw a massive move upwards, and this up only mentality these perma bulls get into. And I'm not a bull, I'm not a bear. I just simply trade the market. And quite frankly, we've seen what? I don't know what that is, 7%, 8%. We've seen a massive move up for Bitcoin. We cannot expect these rallies to be going without healthy corrections. And a correction isn't necessarily bearish. Profit taking results in moves down, and profit taking is healthy. The market needs to see profit taking occur on the way up to avoid these cataclysmic corrections. If we just see the price go up permanently, we will see a cataclysmic correction. We need to see the price action go up, come down a little bit, find new bases of support, develop support, regain momentum, push back up. It needs to be this laddered effect. So do I think Bitcoin has the potential to see a correction moving into FOMC? I do. Do I think the FOMC meeting is going to be bullish for Bitcoin? I also do. So I do think we might see a pre-FOMC flush. So we could see a little bit of a move back, potentially into, we're looking maybe 73,000, 72,750, maybe into this region again over here, which is going to be these prior high points. Maybe we'll see a flush into this region, liquidity grab, and then we will see a continuation higher. And that is going to be the FOMC meeting over here. And then we see a move up as upon the rate reduction. Again, we know interest rate reductions are incredibly bullish for risk assets on the macro. So we don't expect that news to be taken negatively, but we do potentially expect we will see a liquidity flush moving into these economic events. So that is how I'm playing it. I am personally actually selling 20% of all of my Bitcoin here. Now, again, you're probably thinking, well, why would you sell 20% of your Bitcoin here when you think it's going to go higher? Well, again, everything in trading is a risk trade-off, and at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, why trade in the first place if you don't make money, right? You have to be putting profits in your pocket. You have to pay yourself. And for me, and anyone who's been following me, I have been in Bitcoin since 16.5 thousand. I bought my initial at 18,000. I bought my main bag at 16.5. I'm up a 400% nearly on my bag. Taking a 20% profit here is a smart decision, regardless of where Bitcoin goes. You have to learn to take profit. I say this a lot. Everybody wants to make money, but nobody wants to take profit, okay? The fear of missing out is sometimes too great that they are unable to click that sell button even when they're at a significant profit. So I'm taking a small portion out here, taking that profit. I can redistribute that money into altcoins if I must at some point, but for now I'm happy taking a little bit of money off the table, Now that has basically reached that target of mine, that first target of 76,000, and if we go higher, we go higher, fantastic. If we go lower, I'll be happy that I took that money out. So that is how I'm playing it on the macro and on the short term personally. Moving over to altcoins. Altcoins are nearly, and I'm saying nearly because we have FOMC around the corner, we are nearly in the long anything and be happy zone. And that is a zone I like to call where you can essentially touch any altcoin, leave it for a few weeks, and you most likely make profit. The long anything and be happy zone is around the corner. We need to see a break of 650. We're very close. 650 total. Very, very close. You can see a horizontal range right over here. We break here. We retest. We are going upward at 750. A huge rally for altcoins. You know, we're looking at around 20, 30, 40% on most altcoins if this move actually plays out. This is going to be the strong rally zone, okay? Between 760 and 850, 860 is the parabolic move, and above this region we enter into like the my bad. This is this strong rally zone. Above 860, 850, sorry, is the parabolic phase. That is when we go into this parabolic altcoin season. Will we see it? I don't freaking know. We'll have to play it as it comes, but I do believe if we are breaking upwards over here, we are at least going to see a very healthy move for altcoins over the coming weeks. Thank you for tuning in. Have a fantastic day. Catch you guys in the next video. See you then.